Hey everyone, welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. Got a really great guest on today. She's a writer and personal self-trainer in Vancouver. Her writings and artworks have won nominations and prizes, including Finalist, Best Comedian with a Day Job, and Honorable Mention out on screen. Please join me in welcoming Cali Haan. Welcome.
Thank you, Thomas Gerard.
Are you ready for 20 questions?
I'm ready.
Okay, question one. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
Sure. I'm a humor writer mainly, and I also do some stand up. I write screenplays, feature films, and like TV episodes. I'm cooking up a TV series idea right now, and I also write and perform mainly humorous stories, short stories. I've written a couple memoirs too. One is about when I was a punk rock shoplifter kid. The other is about tree planting. Those are forthcoming. And I've recently released my first book, my debut book. It's a collection of humor shorts, and that's available on Amazon.com.
Great. And just a quick note for the audience. So Callie and I met at an in-person event here in Vancouver, and I also met a student there named Grace Chen, and she was on the show. So check out her episode. It also went up today. So question two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
I don't think it's like so original, but I like to meditate to come up with material, and I like to walk to get inspired material. When it comes to joke writing, you can do these kind of like scales. You can run a premise through like a lot of different inquiry patterns, like different questioning techniques, and like I have a kind of worksheet that I sometimes use to extend jokes, like get tags and things like that, and that can be very productive. But for the most part, I find that walking around and meditating can help kind of just more inspired jokes just sort of surface in my imagination.
Great. And just one more note for the audience. If you guys are interested in the 2025 big episodes, we've had one so far. It's with Kareem Rashid, the industrial designer. Please check that out. So question three, why this of all things? Why do you do what you do?
I do comedy because it feels the best. I think I mean, like probably everyone, I've had my serious days, and I've had my moments of very serious temperament, or even long periods of serious temperament. But I'm so grateful that I figured out that, being funny and having a humorous take and a humorous attitude is a great philosophical stance for
Mm.
life. So, I saw a trailer. Michael Fassbender was in it. I love, suspense movies, and I love intrigue and everything, but he was just acting like so serious. It made me laugh. And now, thanks to, knowing what I want to do, knowing that humor is my thing for a number of years, I'm glad to say, sometimes humor is even my reflex, like my immediate reflex.
Mm.
And I think that's very healthy because it lets off a lot of pressure. Life can put a lot of pressure on you. This week I found was quite challenging, and I'm so glad that I know to process challenging experiences with humor when I'm ready to do that.
Nice. So some people struggle with number four, but the question is, what does your future look like?
Yeah, I love that question. I think it's really important to figure that out. And you can't guarantee it, but you can say what I'd like to see. And so what I'd like to see is that I have plenty of money and I have a great like healthy social fabric around me, and I'd like to spend some time writing in a TV room, in a writer's room for television and or film. Um, if it tends to happen more for TV, I think, but I'd like to be part of a writer's room that is very healthy and supportive and has a great showrunner, healthy, truly inspiring and inspired leader running the room, and then maybe one day do that, and be a great boss. I'd like to also carry on with comedy and go everywhere I can to try to amuse people, bring amusement to everyone that I can.
Nice. Okay. Five we say is unique to this show. The question is, let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do?
I love this question. I kind of wanted to, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but I wanted to ask you what you think on this.
Well, some people need clarification of what the question is, and it can be a geographic place, but it can also be like a philosophical place or a metaphysical place or something like that. So I like to think of it in different ways.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, uh, yeah, I love this question. That's why I asked you, because I wanted to know yeah, how it figures in your work.
Mm.
I don't know if you want to say right now, but let me know if you do want to say. I'll do it. I'll do my answer, and that is that for me, like whenever I'm in a writers group, almost always my feedback involves, could you make the place clearer? Because I think a lot of people watch film and TV um, because they want to go into another character's skin, and they want to go to another place. They want to travel somewhere they wouldn't necessarily have a chance to go. Like the best example for me is like Mike White's White Lotus. He's very clever that way, that he set his show at a rich resort, because who doesn't want to go to a rich resort, right? In some fabulous location. Um, and I think we want an immersive experience, and it really comes down to, like Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage. And for me, the characters rise out of that environment. So I think that might also be why I'm not a huge fan of a lot of theater in some cases, because I often find, black box theater. It's great, but it's just, I love the richness of set design and set decoration. I did a little bit of work like that in film and television. It's just so tactile and sensuous, and no two places are alike. And places inform character, so that they provide everything to the character, like so many contextual things, from identity to the problems that certain environments produce. There's two ways to complicate narratives. As far as I'm concerned, it's like internal struggle, internal stress, and external stress. So if that's the case, then if you have a clearly delineated location, then you've got lots to pull from in terms of complicating the initial problem that you've introduced in your narrative. Furthermore, location is spirit and ghosts and ambiance, that kind of ambiance. Like, if something's set on a bridge, that's just totally different than a conflict set in a high rise, or a conflict set on a tropical island. Like it, you, yeah, and we also as humans have just this. I think we have an obligation to uh, dialogue with our environment and with the earth itself. The earth. I can get all like hippie now, but like the earth is our mother, and we rise out of her, and um, she presents so much beauty and awe for us to behold. So, wow, talk about a rich field. But then at the same time, like I cited Mike White earlier, he came out of theater. And so I don't know if he came out of theater, but he aspired to be a theater director. And so his work, while also being extremely rich in terms of setting, is also super rich in terms of relationship. So you strike a balance there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we record this podcast in Vancouver, Canada, but I did a recent trip to Paris and I was like, Paris is straight up better than Vancouver. And people would tell me, they were like, well, no, it's subjective. Some places have this good thing or that good thing. And I'm like, no, if you compare it objectively, Paris is better. So picking a place you like is definitely good.
But I just got back from a bunch of places, and I'm like, okay, my goal now is to make Vancouver better than it is.
Mm, nice. Okay, number six. If you had to start from the beginning, what advice would you give your former younger self?
Well, it would probably be smoke less pot. Yeah.
Okay.
But and probably don't think you can drink
Mm,
really to any extent. Um, but you do what you do. You did what you did.
mm,
You did what you had to do, I guess, and that's all good. It's
mm,
never too late to um, get in possession of your maximum health,
mm,
and great things come from that.
mm. What's a day in your life like?
I'm going to say ideally, it is I get up early and I hydrate and meditate, and I've set myself up the day before with a really great to-do list. I've set myself up the day before with an idea of the stand-up set I want to produce or present, maybe that the night of the morning I wake up, so that I can take my morning walk and I can run my set as I do that walk, then come back right in the morning and promote and do do other kinds of production stuff in the afternoon. Spend the evening in self-care, socializing and or doing stand-up shows. So self-care is really important every day. So making sure I'm getting enough sleep as well.
Nice. So eight is around lifelong learning. It's a popular topic. How do you stay up to date?
I wish I could say I was some kind of tech avant-garde person, or on the leading edge in terms of early adoption of fantastic tech, but I'm not. But I let other people do that, and then, I see if I trust the universe, and I ask the universe to give me the information I need when I need it. So I'm never going to be your go-to person on like the latest gear, but I sure watch those people and see what shakes down, and what works. Not everything that goes in the market is necessary or works. I try to keep it simple as well. For me, simple is beautiful, small is beautiful. I
Mm.
don't need to have all the flashy equipment, but um, the right equipment can really make your life easier. So.
Nice. I think that segues nicely into number nine, which is around tools. Do you use both digital and analog tools?
Yes, I love to write on paper. I love paper, so I mainly keep a paper calendar,
Mm,
and but I'm trying to, I love alerts. Unfortunately, a paper calendar, pretty quiet on alerts, but yeah, I'm gonna probably start rocking the Google Calendar a little more as my life gets more complex. But I love writing on paper. I love that tactile aspect of writing. I'll always keep at least some of my writing on paper, and I use a index card system for jokes.
mm,
That's really great for arranging stuff. Again, like it depends on your learning style. If you are a tactile kinesthetic person, then pen and paper can be very helpful for you. Not everyone's like that. Maybe more and more people are not like that. Maybe all younger kids can do everything digital, but I don't know. I think I think it's really good to use multiple senses. I think it's great for learning and memory, and adding a tactile element to one's planning process or creative processes, I don't think can ever hurt.
Great. Halfway number 10. How do you deal with work-life balance?
I try to keep it simple, and I know myself, which means I tend to get really excited and want to do everything, and then I try to really reckon with myself and ask myself if any of this is realistic at all.
Mm,
I think a lot of people are identifying that they might have ADHD tendencies or other forms of like dopamine kind of excitability or something in their brains, and I think that's good to know about myself, and that I need to take it down a bit. I got a book recently called Leave the Office Early, I believe is the title, which is awesome because it's about higher order executive skills, and it has a big self-analysis quiz at the beginning. And through that, I found out, okay, I can improve my planning. Like there were 10 axes of executive capacity that were assessed in the questionnaires. And yeah, planning is phenomenal for um, managing what I do.
nice. If you weren't doing what you do now, what might you be doing?
I don't want to say anything else. I want to be a writer and nothing else will do. But if for my next life, when I reincarnate, I'm thinking of being a dancer.
Hmm. What would you not like to do with your career?
I don't answer things like that. There's no point.
Okay.
Just, I mean, sometimes it can be good to go, what would you not like to do? So that you can, if you're having a hard time identifying what you'd like to do, if all you can do is think of what you don't want to do, that's fair. But then convert it. Like if you don't want to work nights, okay, means you want to work days. Focusing on what you don't want to do is, I don't think, great unless you immediately convert it.
Nice. How about a favorite word, quote, or sentence?
I love Jorge Luis Borges, the Argentine writer's quote, "We are all organs projected by the deity to perceive the world."
Hmm.
I also love this quote: "People think life is a battle, but life is not a battle, life is a game." That's by Florence Scovel Shinn. She also goes on to say it's good if you know the rules of the game, which for her involved that this is a sort of magic world, and what you give is what you get in all respects. But I think it's up to everyone to kind of figure out the rules. I love that because then you get instead of a battle where you're on the ground and just like coping with everything that gets thrown at you, when I perceive life as a game, I get a higher order vantage, and I can start to strategize.
Nice. And you might have thoughts about this, but do you have a least favorite word, quote, or sentence?
I thought I could answer this, which is that I don't really like the term alpha male, because I
Hmm.
think if you have to say all the time that you're an alpha male, you're probably not one.
Hmm. Okay. 15. You're choosing one word to describe yourself. What word do you choose?
I'm going to be aspirational and say mirthful.
Hmm. What keeps you up at night?
Oh, I don't let anything keep me up at night. I like sleep too much.
How about a dream you're chasing?
I want to be, I want to have real integrity, and I want to possess radiant health
Hmm.
and uh, some type of pet.
Nice. Last few here. So, what inspires you?
Yeah, people who stay happy,
Hmm.
like they don't let things get them down. I mean, I think grief is a valid form of love, and sometimes we go there or upset or angry or all. It's okay to have a range of emotions, but uh, people who people who move themselves up the emotional scale when they can and try to keep shining.
Mm. Great. 19, advice. Any advice you'd like to share?
Uh, hmm. Probably, of course, like I'm a font of advice, but especially unsolicited. But um, I'll say something my mom used to say in the 1970s. My mom was a 1970s feminist, and she was a single mom, and she said, "When the going gets tough, the tough gets going,
Mm.
or the tough get going." Yeah,
Mm. Great. And finally, number 20, how can our listeners keep tabs on you and what's our call to action?
I'm at calihaan.com. That's my website. Try to keep that reasonably updated. I'm at Cali.Haan at Instagram. I post shows there and so on. I'm on Facebook. I have a artist page at Cali Haan Phenomenon, and that's about all. And I'd love if you follow me in those places because I will try to make your life very happy and gay
Awesome.
in
Well,
most senses.
yeah, thank you so much for joining today. When you did your last reading at the Vancouver Public Library, it was so well received, and I felt the community kind of building around you, and I knew that you would be a great guest to have, and I'm glad that we connected in this way. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas.